CA Sunil H. Talati on the dais. As we look forward to a discourse enriched by your wealth of knowledge and experience, I'm confident that your presence on the dais will illuminate our discussions and contribute significantly to the collective learning of our esteemed audience. I humbly take an opportunity to briefly introduce our dignitaries on the dais. CA Prasanna Kumar D is Central Council Member of ICAI for the term 2022-25. CA Somnath Adak Talati, Session Chairman and Moderator of the panel discussion, is the past President of ICAI, a stalwart in the profession. CA Somnath Adak Talati has exemplified leadership and dedication throughout his illustrious career. Our esteemed panelist of the session, CA Somnath Adak, is Chairman of Singapore chapter of ICAI. Mr. Eamonn Siggins is the Chief Executive Officer of CPA Ireland. Mr. Westley is Senior International Business Development Manager, ICAEW. I humbly request CA Prasanna Kumar D, CCM ICAI, to set the stage of the session with his opening remarks.
Most respected CA Sunil Talati sir, the Honorable past President of the ICAI and the Chairman and Moderator for today's session, and other panelists on the dais, and all my dearest delegates, good morning to all of you. It's a great privilege for me today to come and give some introductory remarks for this session. This session, the global mobility for Indian chartered accountants, is already there and exploring new horizons. It's a very, very important topic in the Global Connect series of sessions that we have today in GloPac. Friends, as you're aware, this session is going to be chaired by Sunil Talati sir. Sunil Talati sir, you are all aware, the past president and a multifaceted personality and a renowned personality. And all of us, some of the most active presidents are there. He's one amongst them. And he's a pioneer in contributing for export of services for this country. He's also chairman of the Export Promotion Council of Government of India. So where they have seen a steep increase in the export of services from this country. And when he is chairing, I think certainly he is going to give a lot of value addition for all the participants today in this session. Sir, I welcome you for today's session, sir. And we have C.S. Somnath Adak, the chairman of the Singapore chapter of the Institute of Charters of India. And as members, you are aware that we have got our own office in Dubai. And the second office was set up in Singapore. And Singapore chapter and the dynamic leadership of Mr. Somnath are contributing a lot for setting up our own institute office in Singapore also. He's also contributed. I too welcome him for this meeting. And Mr. Eamonn, he is also another panelist today. And he is two-time the chairman of the Edinburgh Group. Edinburgh Group is the one which constitutes 16 professional accounting bodies in the world, including India. And he chaired the session that for 2 terms. And he was also a technical advisor for the International Federation of Accountants. So he has got a global presence. He traveled across the world in the accounting arena. And I'm sure he is going to contribute a lot today for this session. And I too welcome him for today's meeting. And Mr. Daniel, he's a senior manager. So the international business development for the Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales. And he's also got a not only global connect, he has got a very good connect in South Asia, catering to the needs of students and the members of the ICAEW. And I'm sure, see, with his presence, and he's already there for making his institute present in South Asia. I'm sure he knows more about how to see that. The Indian charters have got a great presence worldwide also. So I welcome you for today's meeting. And dear friends, so as you are aware, almost every economy, almost every country in the world, you have got a presence of chartered accountants. You may think, why you don't find, maybe I'm not belittling anybody else. Why the other CPAs, CS, other jurisdictions are not present over the other countries? The main thing is the Indian chartered accountants have got adaptability. The type of curriculum we have, the type of training that is given to Indian chartered accountants, let them go to any jurisdiction in the entire world. 3 months time is enough for them to get adapted to the local system. They can study and follow you know the MRS, MOs, whatever have the many accounting bodies in the world. You can find that 3 months is more than enough for us to get adapted to the local situation. Thereby, the demand increases for Indian chartered accountants worldwide. And not only that, we are confined to only the financial management. Today, it has gone to a stage we are going to take the executive positions also worldwide. So with this little remarks what I have, I'm sure we are going to have a great question answer sessions, for particularly moderated by Honorable the past President Sunil Talati sir. And let's all enjoy this session, get the benefit out of this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prasanna Kumar. And very good morning and good afternoon, both the things to all of my dear participants. It's a matter of great pleasure as well as honor for me to be moderator on this wonderful session. And let me tell you why I use this word wonderful session. So this session is meant for all those Indian chartered accountants who are interested in two important things. Either going out of India and do the work there, or sitting in India, do the work from the foreign countries. And that's very important, because we heard day before from the Honorable Vice President of India. He was so happy that more than 40,000 chartered accountants from India have settled down in foreign countries outside India, abroad. Effectively, there are more than 40,000. Because with respect, there are many learned members of ours who have not yet informed institute that they have gone abroad, but they are trying to settle down there. And they are successful, and therefore they are not coming back. And today the idea is that yes, we the Indian chartered accountants should demonstrate and prove that we are one of the best chartered accountants in the world. Not undermining any other professional institute or professionals in the world, but we are trained in such a way. Sir, you will be happy to know that even after passing one of the toughest exam of chartered accountants, we have more than 11 courses for chartered accountants who can do this after becoming CA, so that they can achieve specialization or expertise in the respective field, be it forensic audit, be it the audit of ISA, which is called ISA there, and number of such other areas where you achieve specialization. And by doing those classes, by certification course and exams, they achieve specialization in that and in turn demonstrate their expertise. So friends, today the whole idea is how India can further grow in the field of accounting and auditing. Being chairman of Service Export Promotion Council, let me tell you, P.S. Goyal is the Ministry of Commerce, and SEPC, Service Export Promotion Council, comes under his department. And you will be surprised that out of the total export revenue of the country, 55% of the revenue comes from the export of service. And out of that, majority of the export is of IT technology. And our accounting and auditing sector stands in 12 champion sectors, meaning thereby out of 12 biggest exports of various kinds of services, accounting and auditing is one of them, and it is named as champion sector. And there are many chartered accountants who have started now providing services to various foreign countries of accounting and auditing. And let me tell you, when I say accounting, it is not that the accountants who are doing work there of writing account, books of account, we do in India. We also do the audit. And to the extent that we cannot certify all the requirements under their software, their technology, their auditing standards, the work is done here, sent there, and there the partner's job is only to review and then certify and sign. So to that extent, we have achieved specialization of different countries. But then there are still opportunities, avenues, and therefore to appreciate what best we can learn from UK, from Ireland, and from Singapore, we have 3 learned faculties here. So it will be very important for all of us to know something from there. And therefore, I have some set of questions which I shall be asking. And let me start with Mr. Woman there. Eamonn. Sir, can you provide an overview of the current landscape for Indian chartered accountants in the global market and how has it evolved in the recent years?
Thank you, CA Sunil Talati, and it's an honor to be on the stage with you and an honor to be here today. In terms of the global landscape and the opportunities for Indian chartered accountants, Dan and I sat together for breakfast this morning, and we just reflected on both our jurisdictions, Ireland and the UK. And in both jurisdictions, we currently have prime ministers who are of Indian origin. So from the outset, I think we come from a perspective where the sky is the limit for Indian professionals and for Indians, and that your skills and talents are so broadly accepted globally. And I would contend that for Indian chartered accountants, there has actually never been a better time to be a chartered accountant. And why do I say this? Because it may not be apparent to you in this part of the world, but in other parts of the world, there is a critical shortage of accountants. It is a major global problem for the profession to attract and retain talent. And this is a complex problem. It has no simple, single solution, and it will not be resolved for a period of time. And that creates an incredible window of opportunity for mobility and portability of professionals to move between those jurisdictions where there is a steady supply to those jurisdictions who are really struggling to keep up with the pace of economic growth and to service business and to service the public interest as a consequence of a shortage of talent. And let me just give you an example, if I can, of how that impacts in Ireland at the moment. So firstly, and this applies in many jurisdictions, but I will just give you an example from my own. Firstly, the government has determined that there is a critical skill shortage of accountants and has listed accountancy as a critical skill in which we are deficient. And what that means is that for the first time, qualified accountants from outside of the European Economic Area can get a special visa to come to live and work in Ireland, but also, very importantly, to bring their families. And this has a permanency attaching to it. And I sat in on the earlier session and I heard how important it is for people to have security and permanency if they move from this jurisdiction to another. Even in our small economy relative to here, if you open LinkedIn today and look at jobs for accountants in Ireland, you're likely to see about 1,000 open roles. And that just gives you a sense of the level of vacancies that are there. Very rewarding and challenging jobs in every sector. As in other countries that have been on the panel and are here this morning, ICAI India has a mutual recognition agreement in place with ICAEW for Dan, with CPA Ireland for me, and in Singapore as well, as I'm aware. So there is an opportunity there to gain a national qualification while you sit here in India and prepare yourself for travel. Finally, I think that you have such an incredible network of local chapters that ICAI India has done such a good job over many years in developing local chapters. And you really need to exploit that networking opportunity and reach out and get advice from those who are overseas. And lastly, I would say that as staff are such in critical demand, you're going to see more firms in our jurisdictions looking to outsource work to India. And that's a growing trend that you're going to see more of. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. You started with a very positive note. And friend, please appreciate what he has stated. There are no problem for visas also going to your Ireland, including your family members. I still remember 25 years before Aditya Birla gave an interview in India Today, that why Gujaratis and Marwadis and particular community from South are more successful than others. So they don't attach with their ma and mitti, because they are not hugging their mother and they are not stuck with their house and they don't mind going anywhere. So that's the message he has conveyed. And that's the positivity application of mind you should carry on. So let me give you an example of today morning only. When there was season outside, there were many chartered accountants and people saying, oh, it's very dull, it's light. there is no sunlight. We don't feel like getting up from the bed. And there are others who are saying, oh, what a wonderful atmosphere, drizzling. It's like a sexy atmosphere. We feel like doing so many things. Same atmosphere, but two kinds of mindset. We have to go for the second mindset. Think positive. Think of going out of India. Let me share with you. There are hundreds of chartered accountants who are from small villages who have become chartered accountants. They are leaving their village and coming to big towns. So why not go from big towns to foreign countries? So my second question is to one of the biggest country in the world who really started what the accounts is, United Kingdom. Daniel, to you, the question is, how important is cross-cultural communication for Indian chartered accountants operating in a global context? And what strategies can they apply to enhance their effectiveness in diverse cultural atmosphere? Because culturally we are quite opposite, though account is the same language.
Absolutely. Well, firstly, Mr. Talati, thank you very much for moderating this session, and thank you all. It's a privilege for me to be on this stage speaking to you right now. Just to touch on a couple of points that have been said already, if I may, certainly around the kind of positive approach that's required. I think definitely be positive. There is so many opportunities in the UK for chartered accountants from India, those with that positive mindset and those that are really going to use the opportunity that they have. There is a need, there is a requirement for the absolute skills that that Indian chartered accountants can bring and add value, not just to UK, but specifically I can talk to you about that given I'm from there, the value that your skills and your technical knowledge can bring. So that positive mindset, absolutely, it comes with that kind of culture. I guess it needs to be embedded in, but absolutely come with that positive culture and that positive mindset. And those opportunities will be there for you in the UK. And to touch on some of Eamonn's points around skill set development, I think, you know, we have our agreements with ICAI that recognise you as chartered accountants from a very technical standpoint. We know absolutely you've got high technical expertise when it comes to chartered accountancy, which clearly that's very valuable if you're looking to find opportunities in the UK. But I think, you know, absolutely have a think about softer skills that will help you to open up those opportunities in other organizations, in other economies. It's the softer skills, I think, perhaps are often taken for granted in some cases. So we at ICAEW are very much shaping what that looks like within our own qualification, but also with regards to courses that we provide members to give them the tools and the opportunities and for them to actually increase that skill set. Things like leadership skills, if you're looking to develop in that area, if you're looking to lead organizations now or in the future, that's vitally important, clearly, to what you want to do. Ethics as well, ethics and trust in the profession, hugely important. That could be seen as a soft skill in some cases. Ensuring that you've got that kind of ethical standpoint is very important when you're looking to work in other countries and in other cultures and communities. Other skills that are vitally important around integration of technologies, so data analytics, sustainability, which has become hugely important to the profession. We work very hard within our qualification and within courses that we provide our members to ensure that they've got those kinds of opportunities to upskill in those particular areas that are always changing. Will those things be here in 5 or 10 years? Probably yes. But there'll be new things as well. So it's really important to keep ahead of kind of what's changing, keeping your skills updating so that you can remain relevant for not just here in India, but wherever in the world that you're looking to kind of work in as well. So, and in terms of that kind of cross-cultural communication, I think I was sitting in on a session yesterday. CA Rajendra Kumar was moderating all around that kind of working in overseas territories. And some things he said really stayed with me around even thinking about the way that you're sitting in a business meeting, the way that you're dressing, the kind of interaction you're having, whether that's virtual, whether that's in person. It's these kinds of considerations that we need to have when we're looking in working in other markets and really maximizing your opportunities to make sure that you're respectful of other cultures and whether that's in your line of business or somewhere else. So it's always something that stuck with me. That. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's really very encouraging to listen to what he's saying. And let me raise a point which I'll come back to you later on, Daniel. That there are many Patels and many Punjabis who have settled down in UK. We from the African countries and from India. But I see very few Indian chartered accountants who are coming to UK and settling down, in spite of we are having an MRA with that. I'll come to you in the next question. But let me tell you, friends, those who are sitting here and interested in working in UK or from UK, that there is a firm of chartered accountants in Ahmedabad who is doing substantial work of accounting and VAT, because VAT is equivalent to VAT we had in India, and hundreds of small shopkeepers, gas station and restaurants and other vendors are giving him the work in Ahmedabad, and he's employing now more than 2,000 persons. Now that is the scope in UK. You can understand and appreciate. So I will come back to you how we can do this kind of work in the second question. But let me come to you that besides UK, I was very thrilled when President Aniket Talati told to the audience that ICAI had signed MRA with Singapore, and anyone who goes to Singapore and settles down for 6 months, he can immediately have the privilege of working there. So even at the age of 73, I have told my wife that Singapore is one of the finest and cleanest country in the world. So let us go and have nice 6 months, and then I'll do some practice there. So is it that simple that yes, I go to Singapore and start working, or there are some other things to be done? And what are the scope for Indian chartered accountants at Singapore? So Mr. Somnath, it's a very nice name, you will agree, friends. The entire Somnath is being now gold plated. So Indian chartered accountants are expecting gold from Singapore. And therefore the question to you is, sir, networking is often key to success in a globalized world. What strategies would you recommend for Indian chartered accountants to build and sustain a strong international professional work in Singapore and from Singapore?
Good morning, everyone. Say a big privilege to be in this panel with Sir you being the moderator. Coming to the question, I'd like to answer it in 3 parts. The first part is re-emphasizing the importance of having a network. We all know that network is net worth. It's a cliche. But the important factor is the sooner we understand as professionals that networking is important, the more beneficial it becomes for us in our career as we move on. The second part is coming to strategies. There are a number of options available out there, number of strategies. Some that I have seen in my career and with my friends that could work is number one, the global conventions. Something like this that ICAI is doing. As members of ICAI, we all must be privileged that ICAI is taking the efforts to organize global conventions like this, where global bodies are coming and participating, and it is an opportunity for us, the Indian CAs, to come here and network with them. It is very difficult to bring together on a platform people from all over the country, people from all over the world, and then do this kind of conventions. So thank you to ICAI for that. Second is, let's say, professional platforms like LinkedIn. There are about 950 million users on LinkedIn across 200 countries. And each of us, if we try to do a very targeted networking and try to link up with only a, let's say, small proportion of that, maybe 0.05%, we would have a large network. So something for us to think about, go back and see who all are there in our first degree connections. Can we move to the second degree connections, make them our first degree, and so on. There are a number of options available online. Look them up and see how you can grow your network. Number 3 is global education programs. Now, having an ICAI degree makes us a very good potential candidate for global business degrees. So try to look for opportunities outside India where they are giving global degrees like EMBAs, executive programs, which is a very easy way to foray into having a global network. where global people from other countries come and do the program with you. You build a solid foundation of having good friends outside India and then develop it slowly as a global network. Finally, I'll say the ICAI foreign network, the foreign chapters network is extremely strong. We are privileged to be, let's say, alumni of ICAI, and all our members are sitting across the world. There are 78 or 77 chapters and representative offices outside India. Let us use that. Let us leverage the strength of our global network. If you travel to any country, just pick up the phone and call the local chapters, local ref offices people. I am 100% sure they will be open to help you and assist you meet the business people or whatever your interest area is to those people. They will absolutely help you to connect with them. Now, the third part of my answer, which is the most important part, is the intention and the dedication. Like, we all know that we need the network. But the first question is, why do we need the network? What is the objective of my network? That is very important, and this is different for each of us. It is, something that works for me may not work for somebody else. So something for us to think and ponder upon is, why am I trying to build a network with person X in X country? So have that objective clear. And then the second part of it is the dedication part, which is once you have a network, how do you sustain it? Right? That is also very, very important, because just having a network doesn't yield anything unless you give time to that. And we only have a limited time available with us. So use the time very, very cautiously and think how we can sustain the network and grow it slowly and steadily over the period of your career. Thank you, sir.
Very well, and I would say very bluntly told about networking, friends. Please appreciate networking concept. We started when I was president in 2007. 2007 to 2023. 16 years have passed, but we are not that successful in networking. Problem with us is, as you very rightly put, should I work for me or should I work for others? That thinking has to be destroyed. And you have to understand and appreciate that networking is for me and for him and for both of us. And unless that concept is clear in your mind, you will not be able to do networking locally as well as globally. So first, try to understand and appreciate implementation of networking, sharing of the work, sharing of the fees, and increasing of the revenue. That's very important. And Somnath, you're very right. Friends, you will all agree that yes, the nearest destination from India is Middle East. So many chartered accountants from Ahmedabad, or for that matter, from Gujarat and from South India are traveling to Dubai and settling down there and working there. And there are more than, I think, 10,000 chartered accountants in Middle East itself. But the next nearest destination is Singapore. And therefore, think on that. We are fortunate to have Mr. Somnath here, and how you can use and do networking at Singapore and develop your practice and grow professionally. And at this point, let me mention also one very important thing which I learned from this. And I was told this when I was president and went to Paris. In France, they were shocked that in our institute, after making all the students chartered accountants and giving them certificate of practice, Yeah. I mean, I was going to say something which many of you may not like, and therefore it appears the mic went off. Let me tell you, when I went to Paris and when I told that in India, even after chartered accountants pass the exams, now they expect us to allot them bank audit. They expect us to expect institute to allot them stock audit and see that professional opportunities are made available to our members. I asked same questions to a representative from CEO from Ireland and UK, and they were shocked. They said it's an alien. We cannot think of that. He said institute role is to provide the education and make them members and throw them in the open ocean. But thanks to our council and our institute that we are doing, as mentioned by Somnath, such international conference, GROPEC, and provide various opportunities to chartered accountants. So please grab these opportunities. We are thankful to our institute. We are obliged to our institute that this kind of platforms are made available. And therefore seize these opportunities when we are fortunate to have such speakers and representatives from foreign countries. So Eamonn, your next question to you is skill set. In the context of global mobility, now everyone is moving everywhere. What specific skills and competencies do you believe is crucial for Indian chartered accountants to develop and settle down outside India, particularly in your country and other?
Yeah, I think the first thing to realize is that your skill set is already very well appreciated. And the pathways that you have to international qualifications reflect very well on the comparability of qualifications. So you're starting from a really strong and well-respected base. I think the second thing is that there's a mindset shift required, and it's somewhat cultural. In India, you have placement services, and that's quite common that you can rely on placement services. And they're quite an alien concept in other parts of the world, really. And the responsibility for finding employment falls on you, the individual, and your autonomy and your capacity to reflect your skills and experience to an employer, or in many cases to an employment agency appointed by an employer. So I really think it's very important that you look at your CV and you look at it through the eyes of somebody who is taking an international perspective on it. And they may not really understand or appreciate what you did as a 12-year-old, or whether you were a topper, or whether you were placed 1, 2, or 3. But they would really appreciate your recent experience and how that experience relates to the opportunities on offer. So a bit of a mindset shift first. Now, in terms of skills then, you need to, again, internationalize your skills, because employers and employment agencies may not realize that standards are largely global. And I see many CVs from Indian chartered accountants who tell me they are expert in Indian auditing, Indian accounting, and everything. You need to translate that. You're an expert in auditing. You're an expert in accounting. That's international. That's transferable. And if you want to build on those skills, I mean, it's been mentioned in other sessions, it's been mentioned here already, but sustainability is key. And there is an absolute race on in Europe, North America, Australia, South Africa, many other jurisdictions. There's an absolute race on for sustainability reporting and sustainability assurance. And you're seeing the first wave of standards being developed internationally and in Europe. And I would certainly encourage you, there is a world of free information about those standards, about their impacts on business and about what business needs. And I would encourage all of you to keep abreast of sustainability as it develops. Technology and digitalization. I mean, Indian chartered accountants are highly regarded for your technology skills already, but business is moving digital very quickly in the rest of the world. Practices are changing. The whole provision of service is changing. Artificial intelligence is playing a huge part now in co-creating solutions with humans, in supporting professional accountants in adding value in their roles, and allowing professional accountants move up the value chain. So stay abreast of that. And finally, I would say, and Dan mentioned this already, data or data, whichever part of the world you're from and whoever you say it, that's the new gold. And data analytics is a key skill set. And I'm already seeing young chartered accountants from India coming to Ireland and topping up their education with masters in finance and data analytics, because they know that that will get them high value jobs, particularly in the banking and finance sectors. So that would be my advice.
Fantastic. I think we should appreciate, he's already complimented us that Indian chartered accountants are really competent, knowledge-wise, expertise-wise, and what we need to further develop is technology. And that's very important. And let me tell you, friends, if you recall what Arun Jaitley mentioned once in our conference, that why he became lawyer, because already he was keen to become chartered accountant. And then he realized that it is extremely difficult to fail in law exam, but it's extremely difficult to pass in CA exam. And so he chose lawyer. Same thing with utmost respect to all institutes in the world. Let me tell you, if you pass the exam of ICAI in India, you can pass the exam of UK, Ireland, Singapore, Australia, or any country in the world. That's what we are taught and we learn hard way. So with that confidence in your mind, Daniel, my question to you is, how would you like to invite Indian chartered accountants to UK? Maybe for practice, maybe for service, or maybe for outsourcing work. And what's your experience? If you can share any success story, because at the young age you have come to such a high level. So we'll be happy to know some success story from you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think there's two areas which I think have kind of been touched on in terms of how people can mobilize themselves to be successful, and for us to kind of get those success stories. And to be honest, there are many that we could go into. You know, we've got a membership base all across the world of ICAEW members, but increasingly we are seeing lots of members qualifying in other parts outside of the UK. And if we speak specifically about South Asia, but specifically today about India, we are seeing lots of Indian chartered accountants utilizing that route that is available through them to the ICAI in two main areas that they're being successful in. One being, you know, we've touched on the severe, in some cases, skills shortage that we have within the UK. So it's true that many firms or businesses who are looking for chartered accountants are struggling to place those people within the UK. So I think over the past 10 or so years, they've seen so many successful candidates come from this part of the world, coming to fill those gaps and to do that work from a very, very highly competent technical background. Adding along some of those soft skills that we've mentioned earlier as well always helps. But it's proved to be very, very successful for those firms and businesses in the UK by bringing in people from this part of the world, such a young, highly competent, highly skilled population that we have here in India. So to the point now that we see that firms and businesses are in fact seeking and looking to this part of the world because they see those opportunities. So, you know, there is a vehicle for people to mobilize themselves through the MOU that we have with ICAI so that they can get qualified with ICAEW and then get those opportunities with these employers, because, you know, you're pushing on an open door in that sense. But I must, I guess, emphasize the fact that there has to be a bit of a give and take, if you like. So ICAEW can help you to mobilize and to give you those opportunities. We can open up those wide networks that we have of our members. We can open up introductions to businesses in UK or potentially other parts in the world who are looking for those skills and who are looking for chartered accountants. But there needs to be an element from your side as well to really work hard, to really understand the cultural differences, to upskill yourself in various areas so that you are getting up and going to get it. It's not going to come to you on the plate. We are going to open up those doors, but you need to do the finishing element of that. And so lots of success stories of people coming through that route, but increasingly success that we're seeing as well is through this outsourcing piece. Now, it's great that there is those mobility opportunities. ICAEW are very proud that we can give members the opportunity to mobilize and to work in other economies and other countries. But actually, for people that are qualifying and remaining in India and offering these outsourcing services, we're starting to see some fantastic examples of people, again, using that kind of get up and go within them, having that positive mindset, but with the ICAEW or any other qualification that they can get in other jurisdictions, that can be the element that opens up those doors to meet new clients. And we're seeing that on the rise as well. So lots of good examples. Just, one particular example that springs to mind, a member that we have who qualified via ICAEW after ICAI. And then just by using Google and using the ICAEW element to target businesses and clients in the UK, he's added real value to his outsourcing business here in India, and has many clients now because of that. So some real good positive examples of what can be achieved through these relationships that ICAEW and ICAI have.
Fantastic, fantastic, just. Well then, Somnath, though we had the session earlier, you representing Singapore chapter, the question to you is with regard to role of professional associations. For as you know, we have now more than 77 chapters. When I was president in 2007, there were about 90 branches. Now we have 170 branches. When I was president, there were 11 chapters. Now we have 77 chapters. 7-time growth in just, say, 15 years period. So imagine the demand world over of Indian chartered accountants and Indian chartered accountants settling at various places. And we have, ICAI has done MRI with 16 countries. We have done mutual recognition agreement with 16 different countries. But to you, Mr. Somnath, the question is, with regard to role of professional associations, how can this professional association play a role in facilitating global mobility for Indian CA, and what initiatives have been success in this regard? Because sometimes the members have the hesitation. I am asking this question, that they feel that already 70 chartered accountants have settled in Singapore. Already 50 are there in California. So if I go, I'll be 51st. So those 50 are hesitating to adopt me. Is it so? Or those 50 are waiting for the 51st?
Sure. Professional associations, I believe, are the cornerstones of any country's accounting industry. So I think the role is extremely critical. Now, there are a few ways professional associations can play their role. Number one is awareness. Now, we have been speaking with Dan and Eamonn. They mentioned that there is a huge shortage of accountants in the other side of the world. Here in India, there's a huge supply of ICAI members, chartered accountants. But the information sharing, the awareness is missing. So I think the role of accounting bodies, professional associations, is to bring that information to the place where it is most relevant. Number two is policy making and regulations. And I say this because, there are certain regulations when you move out of one country to, let's say, another country, for example, Singapore. There are regulations which are formulated by the governments of those countries with the objective of ensuring the benefit of that country. So as a professional association, what we can do and what other associations can also do is bring to the forefront of those government bodies the policies that should be adopted. One, to facilitate the mobility. Number two, the advantages that ICAI members from India bring to their countries, and so on and so forth. ICAI has several MOUs, MRAs, which we all know. So those are the opportunities that could come across as part of those, talking about regulations, amending the regulations, making them more flexible to facilitate the mobility. Number three is collaboration, which is coming together and working for the benefit of each other. So in Singapore, what ICAI is the Institute of Singapore Chartered Accountants. What ICAI is doing is trying to build together a global network, which is called Professional Accountancy Hub. So they are bringing in a number of other associations, including ICAEW, CPA Australia, ACCA, etc., etc. And very soon there will be formal announcements done by ICAI that ICAI would also be part of that Professional Accountancy Hub. So these are kind of things that professional associations should do to, number one, build the confidence in chartered accountants in India, so that they see that in that country they are accepted. So the 50 to 51 is not a question at all. It is more of acceptability. Finally, just reiterating again, the associations play a critical role in formulating conferences like this, which is again, the field where you come and interact with accountants from the other part of the world, and then see what is the opportunities in those countries and then act to it. So I think thank you, sir.
Very well said. Let me tell you what this was told in the World Congress last year. Because when I was president, I went to Singapore along with one Central Council member. And then I was invited by the president. So I thought I'll be going to some nice building and I'll be welcome there at the ground floor. But I was taken to a place which was about 10-storied building. And then I said, please enter the lift. So I entered the lift. And then they took me on the 7th floor. I thought the whole 7th floor would be institute. He said, no, sir, please come on the right-hand side. And there was a small premises of hardly 1,000 or 2,000 square feet. And the gentleman said, this is the office of Institute of Singapore. So I was shocked that office of the Institute of Singapore was less than 1/10 of the size of the Ahmedabad branch building. But that was the position of Singapore then. And we were not aware, and they were not aware what India is. In the World Congress, when they came and saw the building at BKC complex over Institute of Chartered of India. And the president asked Aniket, in which floor is your institute? Aniket said, this is our whole building is ours. Oh my God, this is your building? Aniket said, we have 50 such buildings in India. We have 50 such buildings in India. Then they realized the importance and strength of Indian Chartered Accountants and ICAI. So as you very rightly said, Mr. Somnath, that world must know what institute is, world must know what Indian Chartered Accountants are, and our strength and competence and capabilities. And therefore, he very rightly mentioned, let us be very honest and clear to our functioning and area of work. One may be happy filing returns of income. One may be happy doing tax audit. One may be doing internal audits. One CA may be happy doing statutory audits. One good in forensic accounting, one in international taxation. But nothing wrong if you are expert in writing accounts. Let me tell you, 90% of Indian chartered accountants who have become CPA in USA, they are exclusively in writing and maintaining accounts. But they are not certifying, because certifying accounts of public limited company or big entity carries a lot of consequences also. Something goes wrong, and if a suit is filed of some $1 million, your entire life's income and savings is done with. So those chartered accountants are not certifying accounts, but they are helping clients to write accounts and maintain books of accounts. And it's very rightly mentioned, there's a tremendous shortage of accountants. So chartered accountants, all of you and the youngsters particularly, develop this skill and provide the services of maintaining and writing of accounts. There are respect in this, and there are returns in that, and there are financial rewards in that. So it's very, very important to appreciate the need of accountancy. China reported last year that they need 10 lakh chartered accountants. We in India don't have these statistics, but I can tell you, and most of you will agree with me, now there are chartered accountants available, but accountants not available to write accounts. That's the position. And in some big places of big entities serve, that normal accountants demand more salary than chartered accountant. So that's the requirement and demand of writing and maintaining accounts. So we can explore this area, as very rightly mentioned by Mr. Somnath. Now with this, there are some general questions to all of you gentlemen, and I'm sure you will be able to enlighten the audience on that with regard to benefit of MRAs done with you. Since ICAEW, CPA, Ireland and Singapore have relationship with Institute, in your views, how this benefits the professional accountants across the globe and particularly to Indian chartered accountants? Somnath has already stated, but if you can want to add, and then we want to you.
Sure. I think Singapore being the most recent announcement, it was announced on 13th February 2023 as immediately after Aniket sir took over his office, that ISCA is recognizing the Indian Chartered Accountants as a professional qualification to be able to take up the associate ISCA membership. Now, there's a difference here, and I want to mention this very clearly because I have received personally a lot of questions. Our chapter receives a lot of questions on this one. So the recognition that ISCA has done, it's only on the affiliate membership. And what it means is that as a CA of India, if you are settled in Singapore, if you are working there, a very key requirement, if you are working there, if you're settled in Singapore for at least 6 months, then you are eligible without doing anything, without taking up any paper, you're eligible to become an associate ISCA member. Associate ISCA designation is different from a full ISCA member, which is where the ISCA full members can practice in Singapore. Associate ISCA members cannot practice in Singapore, even if you stay there for 6 months or more. Now, the benefits that we get as Indian CAs in Singapore having the associate ISCA title is that we can network with members of ISCA easily. We can attend their sessions, their CPE events, their networking dinners, and we can network with the members there. Number two, the biggest challenge for people who are going out of India and settling abroad, the biggest challenge is that we don't have a base, a foundation, right? We start from scratch there to build a network. So it is very challenging for us to find something and start building onto it. So having this recognition helps us build that network. So it gives us a good foundation where we can start not from zero, but at least from something. Now, the practice rights in Singapore is only given to the CA full members and ACRA, which is the Accounting and Regulatory Authority of Singapore. They regulate the practice. There is a minimum requirement of 2,500 hours of doing a managerial level audit work, quality review, etc., which takes its own 4 to 5 years time. So if you want to practice in Singapore, be prepared to give that time, give that commitment, go to Singapore, finish the Singapore full course, and then give those 2,500 hours in under practicing CA, and then you can start practicing there. So I think, given that challenge, the suggestion that I will give is try to find collaborations, try to find CAs who are already practicing in Singapore, and you can try to leverage that network, do the collaboration part, you take up some of the part which they can't do, and you give them some of the part which you can't do. And, it's a win-win situation for all of us.
Thank you. Thank you for explaining this thing. Mr. Eamonn, please.
Yeah. Well, just to add, excuse me, to add to what I said earlier, because I did explain about the critical skills visa. So the opportunity to come live and work in Ireland is available. I have to clarify though, Ireland doesn't need 10 lakh chartered accountants. I don't know where we would house them. Perhaps China could, but we couldn't. But I think in terms of, broadly speaking, in terms of MRAs, that it's obvious 2 qualifications are always better than 1. And having access to 2 suites of service, 2 suites of support, one in India and one of which is international, just broadens people's horizons. But it also shows commitment to another jurisdiction when you take on the national qualification. And in the earlier session, when all the chapter chairs were here, they all spoke about taking on the national qualifications where they were based. And that's really the benefit of an MRA. It does, as Somnath said, give a new network, gives an opportunity to integrate quicker, which is very important. It provides employment support because gaining employment is often more about who you know rather than what you know. So networking is so really important in that space. But I think for me, very importantly, and it relates to those who want to provide outsourcing and also those who want to provide or who want to move. Trust is very important. And when a professional and when 2 professionals are members of the same professional body and are subject to the same rules, regulations, and ethical codes, there is a natural trust which builds up. So I think availing of MRAs builds that trust, whether you're staying at home and looking to offer services abroad, or whether you're looking to travel internationally. Being part of a national profession, in addition to your own ICAI India prestigious qualification, just gives you so many advantages.
Very well said. Friends, please, you must have heard it. It's very important that instead of what you know, it's more important to whom do you know. So if you have contacts in Ireland, in UK, find out those contacts and then you'll be able to explore more with MRA having been done by the institute. And same is for UK. If you know somebody in UK, short you will get the accounting and outsourcing work from that. So Daniel, your views on this, please. Daniel.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so I think the point around trust, I think, is vital. And just by, if you think about some of these businesses in the UK that you might be targeting with your your services from an outsourcing perspective, the businesses in the UK, what would they be comfortable with? What's their comfort zone when it comes to qualifications or recognised professional bodies? It's ICAEW in the UK. So, if someone's approaching them with an ICAEW membership from India, from an outsourcing business here in India, there's an initial level of trust there. Absolutely. So opening up that door initially and having the conversation is going to be much more straightforward. But in terms of the agreement specifically between ICAI and ICAEW, so there are two ways for people to qualify with ICAEW having completed ICAI through the MRA route, where we would recognise all of the exams that have been sat under ICAI. So anyone who has recently qualified as an ICAI member would receive 12 credits or 12 exemptions from ICAEW's 15 exams. So they just need to complete 3 final exams in order to qualify as an ICAEW member. And of course, then that's when they can call themselves an ICAEW member and access all of the membership resources that are available at their fingertips, which ICAEW provides. The other route in is through the Pathways to Membership route, which is a way for anyone who has 5 years experience post-membership of ICAI and has maintained that membership for at least 5 years, is able to join ICAEW via that route. And that is a route that is asking them to share information, asking members to share their experience. So it's an exam of experience. It's not a technical exam. It's not an invigilated exam. It's something that's worked on in your own time, almost like a case study on your own working experience for the past 5 years, so that ICAEW can understand kind of what skills you're bringing, what your approach to working as a chartered accountant is. And then by coming through that route, you can join to be a member of ICAEW. And both of those routes will give you access to become a member and to obtain a practicing certificate, which would be required if you're offering services in the UK. So you can apply for that simultaneously to becoming a member and a full member. It's the same level of membership that ICAEW has, regardless of what route you've come through, regardless of which country that you've qualified in. The only additional thing that could be of interest potentially, if people are looking to obtain audit rights within the UK, the second route I spoke about with regards to pathways isn't necessarily the route for you, because similar to what Somnath was saying, you need to go through a period of training essentially at a UK registered auditor, because the audit profession is regulated in the UK, not by ICAEW, but by the Financial Reporting Council, the FRC, who set the standards in terms of being able to sign off audit. Now, that route is absolutely available for ICAI members, because by sitting those final 3 exams, as well as some local law and tax exams, and with a period of time working, which is just a 2-year period, working under a UK registered auditor, then you'd be able to obtain that audit sign-off license. So if that is something that you're looking to achieve in your career and come to the UK to sign off audit, the MOU that we have in place can do all of those things for you.
Super, friends. Thank you. Well, that's the weightage of ICAEW, Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales. And let me tell you, in early years, I'm talking when I was doing my articles, if you find a chartered accountant and he's introducing himself, oh, I am a chartered of England and Wales, I mean, immediately, his position would go 10 feet up. And we had our respected past president who has also done his CA from England and Wales. And if you listen him now also, you can see the difference in English language that he speaks. But then those were the years where English was prominence. Now language is not that important. Important is your knowledge, your hard work, your sincerity and your devotion and your desire to render the work of the professional expertise and competence you have. And therefore, it's very important that yes, now we have MRA with ICAEW. Take a challenge up and decide, yes, where you want to, how you want to, and in what manner you want to do the work. Mobility by chartered accountants across the globe. That was the topic of today, friends. But before we conclude, if any member has any question with regard to this mobility of settling outside India or getting work outside India, we'll have 5 minutes for that, and then we'll conclude the session. Any question if you have? In any language, don't worry for the language. नहीं है तो अच्छी बात है. इसका मतलब ये हुआ, that means you are all happy and satisfied from what the speakers have conveyed to you. But carry this message, friends. It's very important. As I told you, Government of India wants Indian chartered accountants to procure the work from outside India and to settle outside India and provide our best expertise of accounts and auditing and tax experts. So please convey this message to all others who have not been able to attend here, to all youngsters who want to settle down without expecting institute to give them work. Just throw yourself open in the ocean. World is wide open and you will be in a position to get much more better recognition, status and financial reward. Thank you, friends. Thank you so much for the patient hearing.
That was a golden advice from our respected moderator, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw the curtains on this session, I stand here with immense gratitude and a deep sense of appreciation. First and foremost, our heartfelt thanks goes to our esteemed moderator for orchestrating this session with adept stewardship. We extend our sincere thanks for steering the course of this session with wisdom and authority. A profound expression of gratitude is extended to our distinguished panelists whose expertise and perspectives have enriched our discourse, providing invaluable insights for our professional community. In recognition of their exceptional contributions, we would like to present our esteemed panelists with a token of our gratitude. I have the honor to request C. Vishal Doshi, CCM ICAI, to present a memento to our honored moderator and session chairman, C. Sunil H. Talati, sir. Requesting CM Mangesh Kanare, CCM ICAI, to present a memento to eminent panelist C. Somnath Adak.
The one thing that costs nothing but gives other the maximum player is clapping. Please clap, दिल से तालियां बजाइए.
Requesting C. Durgesh Kumar Kabra, CCM ICAI, to present a memento to distinguished panelist Mr. Eamonn Siggins. Requesting CM Mangesh Kanare, CCM ICAI, to present a memento to esteemed panelist Mr. Daniel Westley. This memento is a sincere gesture to convey our appreciation for the expertise and vision they have shared with us today. Our appreciation also goes out to each attendee present today. Your active participation and engagement have made this session truly dynamic and meaningful. As we leave here today, armed with new knowledge and perspective, let us carry forward the spirit of collaboration and understanding in our professional journeys. The session would be incomplete if we fail to acknowledge and appreciate meticulous efforts put in by our organizing team of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. I would fail on my part if I miss out on congratulating our Honorable President of ICAI, Talati sir, for the roaring success of GLOPAC. Thank you, everyone.